Hey guys, I'm Eric. You're watching Notes and Nerds, and I'm with Keith the Critic, and we're going to be reviewing more movies and TV shows that you should be binging right now.
Hi there, it's nice to be aboard reviewing all the great movies and TV shows and everything we like to talk about.
So, how have you been, Keith?
I had a good Father's Day.
That's good.
Yeah, how was yours?
Not bad. I've been dealing with some jaw pain. That's why we've been kind of off the air for the last week or so.
Yeah.
But feeling better, so we're going to get back to normal here and talk about some great stuff and have some fun. Pardon the noise. I'm going to adjust my microphone again. So let's go ahead and get started. What's the first thing you got for us?
Okay, it's a movie called Hell or High Water. And, of course, it stars Jeff Bridges, Chris Pine, Ben Foster. And so Chris Pine, he's just trying to get back to doing some good and all that stuff. And he finds out the bank's going to take his house where his daughter lives. And so him and Ben Foster, who's an ex-convict, they decide to go out and rob banks. So, and then Jeff Bridges comes aboard, and everything is, this movie is fantastic. Everybody in this movie was terrific. And, of course, Jeff Bridges is one of the best actors working today. And I just thought this movie was terrific. And if you can watch it on Netflix or if you own it, watch it again because it's just a fun movie. And it's a serious, but then Jeff Bridges is kind of like, he travels all over the place. And I thought this movie was great. I thought that Chris Pine is great in it. I thought Ben Foster was terrific in this role, and this movie is really good, and you keep guessing till the last scene. So it's I thought this movie was terrific, and I would go out and if you own it, watch it again. And it's on Netflix, and it's a really good movie. 4 out of 4 stars. It was one of the best films I saw that year, and absolutely, it was terrific.
Excellent. All right, what else do you got for us?
Well, I got Tombstone with and it's on IMDb TV, and stars, of course, Kurt Russell plays Wyatt Earp, Val Kilmer plays Doc Holliday, and you got Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, the late great Bill Paxton. You got Dana Delaney is in this, and of course Charlton Heston. I think that was his last part, was in Tombstone, I think. And I tell you what, here's what it is. Everybody goes aboard they have a gunfight at the OK Corral. Okay, this movie, I've owned this movie for a long time on Blu-ray, DVD, all this. This movie is fantastic. And, Kurt Russell is good in any part he plays in.
Oh, yeah.
He's great. He's just fantastic. And I know you agree with all this. He's just fantastic. And also, Val Kilmer, I thought was really good in this part. I mean, I thought sometimes he's a good actor, sometimes like, he's bad actor, Yeah,
he's done a couple parts here, a couple films off here and there that you sit there and go like, what were you thinking doing that movie? And then he does stuff like this movie. This was
he was great. He was great in The Doors. He was great in The Doors, and and he was fantastic. And then he makes some other terrible movies, like we both agree on. It was just like, oh, man. But, I thought this movie was terrific. and the gunfighters, they all fight once again to the OK Corral. And I tell you what, this movie is fantastic. I thought Bill Paxton was terrific in his role. He's great every part he plays in.
Oh yeah.
And you know, it's so sad that he passed, and that's a big loss to the movie entertainment, you know. And it's just like, but I would you can watch this if you own it, watch it again. This is well worth watching, and it's really, really good.
The funny thing about this particular film is that it also came out about the same time that can't think of his name right now.
Kevin Costner with Wyatt Earp.
That when that film came out, this one blew it out of the water.
Yes,
dominated.
Wyatt Earp. Oh God, yeah. I like Kevin Costner in certain parts, not every role he plays in.
Yeah,
but I like this part, man. I thought this was just a really good movie. Like Wyatt Earp is just like,
it tried to be too much at one time, where I think the benefit for Tombstone was it felt like a proper Western film. It didn't feel like this, you know, I think Wyatt Earp to me comes off feeling more of a made-for-TV docudrama kind of thing, whereas Tombstone, it maintains some of the historical information, but it didn't stay completely. It took its liberties, obviously, but Tombstone really tried to be more of a fun, modern Western-style film, and it really played to the strengths of all of the actors and even the sets. So I'm not a Westerns fan. I'm not a big Westerns guy, but Tombstone is definitely in my top 50 films for sure.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Definitely, it's possibly in my top 25 for sure.
Yeah, it's so good, and I can watch this movie even if I catch like the last 10 minutes of it. You still watch it because it's good. It's but and by the way, getting back to Kevin Costner, he has a TV show called Yellowstone. That's I think in his third year. Watch it. That show is very good. So yeah,
I've heard good things about that one too. I just haven't gotten around. Again, like I said, I'm not a Westerns fan. But it has hit a lot of major hallmarks, I think, with the critics. So it's definitely
And I'm a critic, so it's just like I tell you what, watch Yellowstone and just watch it, because I think it's on. Oh God, I can't remember what channel it's on, but you can pick it up off the internet and all that stuff. So yeah.
All right. So what else do you got for us?
Well, I got a movie called Booksmart. It's on Hulu, and Olivia Wilde directs this movie. And I thought she directed another movie probably 3 years ago or something like that. And I thought she's a very good director so far. She's only made 2 movies, and Booksmart is very good. And the 2 kids are they're graduating from high school and all that stuff. And so Amy and Molly, they decide, man, they haven't done anything fun. So they decide to go out and have some fun. And this movie is terrific. And I'm telling you what, they do, what is it? It's happy. This movie is just a lot of fun. That's all I can say. And I tell you what, the 2 actresses playing in this movie are terrific. And also Jason Sudeikis plays a teacher in this role. And I thought he was good. He has a little bit of a part in this. Mm-hmm. And also, once again, Olivia Wilde is really good. And I think, and also, I think she wrote this movie. She's part of the screenwriting crew on all this. And I thought this movie was fun. And I don't think it was shown. I think it did okay at the box office. There's too many other movies that were out at the same time. Yeah. Which I don't get that. If you Why would you release a movie if Spider-Man is going on or something like that, you know? Because people are interested in Spider-Man, but Open Book Smart, sometime with this lack of, there's not that many, there's good movies are out all the time. There's some terrible movies, but, I don't understand this. But I thought this movie was good. You can watch it on Hulu. And like I said, you can probably pick it up for $5 to $10 somewhere. This movie is very good. I enjoyed this movie a lot. And I can't wait for the next part. The director, Olivia Wilde, is a good director. She's made 2 good movies, and this is the second one. So, and like I said, the 2 actresses in this are very good, and it's a very good movie. Catch it on Hulu, like I said before, or you pick it up for $5 to $10 somewhere else.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what else do you got for us?
Okay, now we're going to review a couple of Roddy Piper's movies. All right, and this came out the same year. First off, 1988, sorry. And the first one is Hell Comes to Frogtown. Now, this movie, I got to own this movie back when, I was just starting, been collecting stuff all my life, but now I picked it up on Blu-ray and DVD, and it stars Roddy Piper, Sandra Bergman, and Roddy Piper is the only guy he's the only guy around that can recreate the population. He's surrounded by tons of gorgeous women, and so then he's taken prisoner, and so and then there's the frog patrol that come aboard, and I thought this movie is fun. Okay, he's being attacked by frogs, the big frogs, and I was kind of thinking, okay, well, but this movie is fun. It's exciting. Check your mind at the door. Don't even think about it. It's a fun movie. And like I said, I mean, it's, I saw Sandra Bergman is in it. I mean, and then we got Roddy Piper's in it. And I tell you what, this movie, check your brain out at the door. Don't even think about what you're watching, because you're going to have fun at this. This is something you can check your mind out and just enjoy it. So I thought that it's just a really, like I said, check your mind at the door and just enjoy it. And so that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Okay, next up, They Live, directed by the great John Carpenter, and it stars Roddy Piper and Meg Foster and Keith David, and there's another planet invades America and all that, and so they come in and they take lives of the current people and their droids and all that.
Yeah.
And I just thought, and I thought this movie was great, directed by the great John Carpenter. I don't think he's made a bad film. Sorry, he hasn't, but I love John Carpenter. He's my all-time favorite director. So, and then also Keith David and Roddy Piper. I think this is the best fight scene that I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, the alley scene. Yeah.
Oh my God, because I love that part of I love They Live, but just this fight scene was so good. It was excellent. And I tell you what, Keith David, of course, the late Roddy Piper, it was just, bottom line, probably the best fight scene I've ever seen in my life. It's just terrific. Not so the movie directed by the great John Carpenter, and he is. He said when Roddy Piper passed on, he said, "I wish I could have made some more movies with him because he is a good actor." So
he had a lot of talent for, like, when everybody thinks back to the 80s and early 90s when it comes to wrestlers and acting,
yes.
we all immediately start envisioning Hulk Hogan. And
Yeah, no.
yeah. But Roddy Piper at that time was actually an incredible actor. Think Dwayne Johnson, but before Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I think the movie They Live had a specialness to it. This is an era of filmmaking when horror films and science fiction carried a message. And
yes,
in this one, John Carpenter was well known for putting a lot of interesting messages in his films. And,
yes.
you know, the whole concept of consumerism, rampant consumerism, capitalism, how, you know, these zombie alien creatures are telling us to consume, to procreate, to do this, to do that, using subliminal messages, when at that time, there was a big issue politically where from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, with use of not necessarily subliminal messages, but the way marketing was done during that time.
Yeah.
This movie really tacked onto that and went crazy with the concept that we see in that. And it almost feels like the film is timeless. And this is why I don't think we'll ever see a remake. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel, because I'd love to actually see something come about what happened after the aliens were exposed. But the film never has been remade in any sense. I mean, John Carpenter's had a couple films that have gotten remakes, and this is one of those that hasn't, and I don't want to see a remake of it simply because it don't matter what the visuals are later down the road or back then. He did it in a way that was done commercially, that you didn't have to worry about everything. The only thing seemingly dated in the film, of course, was the cars, the way people dressed, the slang, stuff like that. But special effects wise, he did it in such a way that was functional. Of course, one of my favorite things about that film was, because of the budget, one of the communicators they used is basically this.
Yeah.
This is the Pke Meter from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it is. Oh.
So yeah, I mean, it's of course you got the green screen going on here because there's a green screen, but
where did you get that?
I got this at Walmart, toy store.
Really? Yeah, I got to go to Walmart.
Well, I'm going to move my thing. I got an entire Ghostbusters set.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Oh, that's cool.
So, I mean,
cool.
Honestly, like I said, I would love to see a sequel to They Live, because I don't want to give away, because anybody who hasn't seen it needs to go watch the film.
It's brilliant.
The lack of, with Roddy Piper being, you know, since his passing, his character isn't necessary for a sequel, so we could still do one. So I just wish they would make a sequel. Of course, there's a meme that's going around right now that John Carpenter's announced the sequels to turn it into a trilogy of They Live, They Laugh, They Love.
Yeah. I tell you what, and then Rob Zombie made the 2 Halloween movies and all that, you know. And, you know, and John Carpenter didn't like, John Carpenter said he didn't like that. And then
no, they were terrible.
I just think that there shouldn't be any. John Carpenter is a legend, and he always has been. And I just feel that none of his movies should be remade at all, because they're brilliant. Just like Alfred Hitchcock, they should, when they came out with what's that movie? Oh God, I can't remember what movie, but it started Steve Gutenberg, and can't remember what it was called. Oh, hell, I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, I just feel that It's an great Alfred Hitchcock movie. And Jimmy Stewart starred in it, and Grace Kelly.
You're not talking about Psycho, right?
No, not Psycho. No.
So I don't remember something with.
Yeah, I got it in my head, and I forgot what it was. But that movie sucked. It's a remake. Stop making remade movies.
Well, get ready for Halloween again. A new trilogy.
No. I like that because John Carpenter said that was good.
If John Carpenter likes it and he's on board, then I'm on board too. But it's just that I like Rob Zombie's music. I've always liked White Zombie and his self-titled stuff, but I've never been a fan of his films. I know some people are going to look at me like, what's wrong with you, Eric? But I was not a fan of his Devil's Rejects films, the House of Thousand Corpses.
I did like Devil's Rejects because
they were interesting. They were definitely interesting films, but for me, they just weren't. They didn't grip me enough. I wasn't invested in the film. His Halloween films, the sequel was just bleh. And then there was that one that came after that one, that new Halloween film. That one just went nowhere completely, which was a sequel to the original Halloween, which made no sense in them doing anyway.
Then when Jamie Lee Curtis came back 2 years ago.
Yeah, that film. I just was not into that film. I have not watched it.
John Carpenter said that was what he part produced that movie.
Yeah.
So he did the music and all that. Because they asked John Carpenter if Jamie Lee Curtis comes back, will you? And he said, if she comes back, then I'm into this. So
I just don't like seeing films that, like this one with Jamie Lee Curtis from a couple of years ago was a direct sequel to the original Halloween.
Exactly.
My problem with that, though, is there was a direct sequel that took place within the whole night, the day after the first film kind of thing. And you completely erase those stories. And I get that, from Halloween 3 on, who cares? They were mostly trash.
Halloween 4 is good with Danielle Harris in it.
Which one?
Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris.
Yeah. Well, that's because they went back to the Michael Myers storyline when they got past that stupid Halloween mask. Well, my understanding is that Halloween was originally intended to be an anthology series of films that all took place around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Myers was only supposed to be a 1, maybe a 2 off character, where when the third film came around with the whole Halloween mask thing, that was where we were supposed to see John Carpenter exploring other things with it.
Yeah.
But because Michael Myers and the slasher film horror style that was popular at that time, thanks to Freddy and Jason, the Sleepaway Camp, and all these other films that were popping up out of the woodwork in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Okay. The first, when I first saw Star Wars and Halloween, we may want to get into the film business.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, because it's just 2 great movies. And of course, go and pick up, you can pick up on YouTube, Hell Comes to Frogtown, and you can pick up They Live on Stars. And if you don't own They Live, come on, grow up.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that right there is just 2 great movies, and you can watch them one after the other. So, okay. Next movie from Netflix. It's called Atypical. And it stars Jennifer Jason Leigh. Stars, Keir Zilchrist. He plays Sam. Michael Rappaport's in it. And Sam is an autistic kid. And I started watching this. I meant to watch this a long time ago, and then I got so much other stuff I'm trying to view at the same time. And he's autistic, and this show is it's not only about his autism, and it's about family life, and they go through some difficulties in their marriage, and they let's see, Kelsey Gardner is played, and she plays the daughter in all this. I thought this movie was so good, and they're going to come out next year with the season 4. And I thought this movie was good. It was every character in this movie is great. Of course, I love Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's one of my all-time favorite actresses. And this movie is very, very good. And catch it on Netflix. And also, Gilchrist plays Sam Gardner. He's autistic. And I'm telling you what, Melissa, my girlfriend, asked, does he has that or not? I said, no, he doesn't. That's how good an actor he is. And Jennifer Jason Leigh is great in this role. And also, Bridget Payne plays Casey, the daughter, in that. She is great in this show. And Michael Rappaport is good in everything. But this movie is good. It's being it's advertised on Netflix, and they just advertised that show on Netflix, and they say, hey, go out and watch the first 3 seasons of this. It comes back next year. That's great. And yeah, if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a great movie, and you'll be very impressed with the acting, the directing, and the writing in this show is excellent. Watch that show. It's terrific. And it's so good.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
you have anything to add to that, Eric?
What?
You have anything to add to Atypical?
I have not actually watched it. It's just I've been trying to keep catch up on some of my regular viewings and stuff like that. The wife just got done watching the season 2 of The Order. I was wanting to watch that, but she watched it without me.
Well, she can watch it again with you.
But I did like the first season. And the second season, what pieces I was trying to ignore, I didn't. It was good. So, I mean, I like the supernatural stuff. And this one, it's kind of like a wizarding school. If anybody's ever seen the first season, it's like a wizarding school, but it's not. It's definitely more leaning to the horror aspect than it is some of the more campy teenage drama stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which are almost there. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good show, and I recommend that to a lot of people. Something I want to talk about on my own regarding a TV show that I've been watching that I think anybody who is into the comic book scene and the superhero shows definitely needs to start watching Stargirl.
Yes.
Anybody who's not watching that, I think, is missing out on a fantastic show. Yeah, it has some of that teen drama stuff on it, but it's done in a way that I think it's done favorably. It's not done in this campy. It's borderline campy, but in the right way, where it feels like a throwback to the old Smallville days back before in the 90s kind of superhero stuff. It's the visual effects for the show is really good. The storyline so far is really good. I'm curious as where they're going to go with the certain plots, like who is Stargirl's actual father, because if you read the comic books, spoiler alert, spoiler warning for some viewers that aren't familiar, Stargirl's actual father is not, according to the comic books, Starman. Yeah. However, something that we have seen a lot with the CW's DC stuff is Mark Guggenheim has taken a lot of the content and kind of just chucked it to the side, pulled what he needs from it, and then creates a whole new concept. So the fact that they're really pushing heavily into Starman being Stargirl's actual father, and something happened. So I don't mind that. I would like to see that. It would tie things together, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm sure that's gonna be a major plot element later down the road.
I think they filmed what, 15 episodes, I think.
I don't remember the full number of episodes because keep in mind this show was originally intended to be part of the DC Universe scheduling for their online service, but we all see where the DC Universe service kind of has turned up and gone. It's kind of falling apart.
Swamp Thing's going to show on the CW network. So there you go.
I'm curious as to what all is going to get tore out of it because there's a lot of content that's in Swamp Thing.
I know. I own it. So yeah.
It's not PG-13. It's not R-rated,
but there's some scenes in it though.
Yeah, there's definitely some scenes in there. But Stargirl was easy to transition over onto CW because it was still falling. It wasn't like the stuff you saw in Doom Patrol, which is coming back later this month, if not next month. Can't wait for that. Doom Patrol had a lot of swearing and a lot of risque stuff going on in it, but I love that show. Swamp Thing was definitely edgier than the stuff you see on the CW, but Stargirl really fit well into the realm of what the CW has. So anybody who's not watching it, you need to get on the CW app, go catch up on that show. Start watching it. I think it's on like tonight at 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's such a good show. And also tomorrow night is the continuation of the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
I'm really sad to see it go, but at the same time, it's one of those shows that it didn't live up to the hype. And it did become its own thing, but it's just, I think it lacked. If it was to become a Disney Plus series, I think it would work out in its favor, but I don't see that happening simply because a lot of the Marvel television branded stuff was basically the redheaded bastard child stuff.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And it's a real shame. That's why all the Netflix shows got canned. People don't want to recognize it, but they were all Marvel television branded stuff, and Marvel Studios just absorbed all the Marvel television stuff.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
I tell you what, if you haven't watched what's that show with January? God, can't remember the superhero. Not January Jones. What the hell?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones.
I haven't finished. I haven't watched the final season yet, mostly because it's one of those things where this is one of the things I wasn't happy with the Marvel stuff on Netflix. They really, really drew out some of the episodes where it was just kind of like filler episodes that just didn't feel good. And when I say feel good, I'm not talking like, oh, well, it was so dramatic. No, I mean like you're fighting to get through the episode because it's so boring. And Jessica Jones had a couple episodes like that where you knew they were filler episodes, and sometimes they overextended some of the story elements.
Yeah. I kind of disagree with you on that one, Eric.
Jessica Jones wasn't so bad with it, but let's go look at Daredevil, for example. There was a lot of Daredevil episodes that just felt like they could have shortened it a little bit, condensed it. That's one of those that if they would have done like all, 3 seasons and condensed it into a single season, it would have flown better. It would have had a better flow to it. Then you go look at Punisher. Punisher is really bad.
Yeah.
The last season of Punisher was just all over the place. And that's a real shame because that's a great character. Now, with I just drew a blank. I was just about to say his name.
Oh.
Darn it. Yeah.
Well, another good news is they're talking to Michael Keaton about bringing back Batman
with
during the Flash.
All that, yeah. I'm hoping to see that happen.
Oh, yes.
I'm worried though. Marvel now, because Spider-Man is Sony technically. Yeah. Marvel under the Disney Marvel Studios branding basically has a thing where if you're in a Marvel product, you cannot appear in a Disney product or a DC product.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of concerned that Michael Keaton, being the Vulture, is going to have a negative impact on his being Batman for the DC, unless
Yeah.
it's got one-off kind of thing.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one, because he was great in Spider-Man, and then Batman is one of the things that made him famous. So
Michael Keaton, though, is one of those.
he's a good
He's
actor.
been in the industry long enough. He's got some pull. He's got some say.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I have a feeling that if Disney Marvel said, "Well, you can't do that," he'll be like, "Well, I can, and I don't care."
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But yeah, I can't wait. I hope that happens. And he's gonna start the next Flash movie. And,
yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, and people. I love Flash. The TV character Flash is terrific.
Oh, yeah.
And the old one with
John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, that's good too. But people aren't going to be interested in the Flash. They want to see Batman. Michael Keaton as Batman. I think that's kind of a drawback because if you want to have a Flash movie, that's fine. That's cool. But have Michael Keaton do his own Batman and all that. But yeah,
I'm just afraid that if they do go that route, with the Flashpoint story, granted, where I can't think of the actor's name who plays the Flash, Ezra Miller, he had a recent issue in the news.
Yes. Well, I heard he was going to be fired from doing the Flash, and then they said he's still going to star in the Flash. I just read that today, and I was like,
yeah, it's an ugly mess. It's one of those kind of things where I think DC and Warner Brothers and all that needs to kind of come together and decide how to shave this off and kind of reboot, so to speak.
yes.
Because Aquaman has done well, but here we have a new problem with Aquaman. There's a huge movement to get what's her name out of playing Mara because of the Johnny Depp debacle.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is the only thing that's running really fine.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman 84, when it comes out, it's doing it in such a way that in itself, Wonder Woman 84 is kind of ignoring everything that was established in the Justice League and Batman v Superman films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I hope that when they do the Flashpoint, I'll be honest with you, they kind of introduced the possibility here with the whole Ezra meeting Grant Gustin scene in the Crisis on Infinite Earths mini thing, the crossover event. If all of a sudden the CW becomes a major portion of the whole DC universe, where the films and the shows, you have specific characters that appear in the movies and specific characters that appear in the shows, and maybe instead of doing massive crossovers like they have been, make these crossovers into actual film events.
Yeah.
And then time it in a way that doesn't interfere with the season. I would be all on for that, and I think a lot of fans would too. But
well, I'm telling you, if you the next Justice League, the remake or the
Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah, Jack Snyder. It's coming out on HBO /Cinemax and
the HBO Max.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. They're breaking.
I'm looking forward to that too. Yes, I'm looking forward to that because I heard that it's like an extra hour or something like that.
If I recall correctly, the original cut was closer to 5 or 6 hours worth of content.
Really?
They had to shave down to 3 hours. And that was another issue with the whole Snyder cut. Josh Whedon was able to get the film down to the closer to 2 hour time frame that DC wanted. But with them going to put it on HBO Max, there's no reason why they can't do it into a huge selling point of a 3-part, 4-part, 5-part miniseries, if you will. And
Yeah.
if that's the route they go, that'll be perfect, especially if it fixes all the issues.
The
Because
only
Joss
good
Whedon, I like his stuff, but I think he kind of screwed up Justice League.
I tell you what, the only good part of of Justice League was Wonder Woman. That was it.
Aquaman had a good. I think Jason Momoa's Aquaman was.
Yeah, he was
solid
good in
too.
that. That's right. That's right. But
He was pretty solid. I honestly, I think the biggest problem with the Justice League film was how it was pieced together, cobbled together, if you will,
Yeah.
with duct tape and super glue, and it was rushed because they wanted it out at a certain time, and Whedon had to work with what was given to him, plus reshoots.
Yeah.
And then the whole Superman upper lip debacle.
I tell you what, there's some scenes in Justice League, action scenes, that you noticed it was, I thought, oh, this will be a great action scene and all that.
Yeah.
Then it just kind of breaks off and goes to something else, you know. I just want them to put all that action back in the movie, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care. I'll sit there for 5 hours and watch it. You know,
I just hope they do what they plan on doing, and that's breaking it up into multiple parts. But anyway,
all
we're
right,
gonna have to cut this up.
Sorry, we keep talking.
Yep, we got to cut this off, and we're gonna get back to normal, guys. Yeah, like I said, I had a jaw issue, teeth aches, and stuff like that. So everything's back to normal for the most part. I still have a few, issues here and there, but we're going to be bringing back more episodes of weekly movie, television reviews.
Absolutely.
And we'll go from there. And I think what we're going to try some experimental stuff down the road with talking about, like we just did here, talk about a few movies and TV shows, and then talk about some stuff that's going on in the industry right now, kind of some news stuff and so on and so forth. So stay tuned for more, guys, here on Notes Nerds, Facebook and YouTube. So again, thank you, Keith, for being a part of the show, and I hope you have a good week.
All right, you too.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, guys, if you want to help support Notes Nerds, please go to our Patreon at patreon.com/NotesNerds, where you can give a little to get a lot back. Tiers are only starting at just $1 whole dollar. If you also want to help support us by owning some of our personal merch, please go to shop.notesnerds.com, where you can purchase anything you like t-shirts, stickers, posters, totes, and a whole lot more. Don't forget to go to all of our social medias at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, where you can subscribe, follow, like, all that good stuff to keep up with what we're doing. Also, go to our website at www.notesnerds.com, where you can check out our blog, you can check out our calendar for convention dates coming up, where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and all that good stuff. So, thank you, and tune in next time.